Hello, everybody. I'm recording this video on Sunday. Um, we ended the week on Friday with a current event about the protests in Minneapolis regarding the killing of George Floyd, and then the protests that ensued. Since then, a lot has happened, so I'm actually going to start this week with current events because I'm pretty sure you guys want to talk about everything that happened. I'm guessing you do. Jocelyn sent me an email over the weekend. Rowdy wants to say hi. um, so, what do I think? That's what we would talk about if we were at school, right? We'd all start to share our opinions. It's really hard to not be in the same space when something like this is happening because I think it makes it a lot harder to talk. I wrote a little bit about what I thought. I'm going to have us do a online discussion today, and so I wrote what some of my thoughts are for you guys to see. I'm really sad. I'm really sad. I'm really sort of in disbelief, which I know that a lot of people would say is naive of me to be in disbelief, because that would be implying that I didn't know that there were problems in this country. But to see the images that we're seeing, they look like images out of the civil rights movement, right? They don't look like something that would happen in 2020. So it's hard, and I wish there wasn't such a great divide in our country, and I wish there wasn't so much frustration and pain on that part of so many people. And that's what I see when I see the images. I know there are terribly violent and destructive things happening sort of in the name of the protests, but I personally see more an overwhelming sense of frustration and anguish and pain, and coming together and fighting for what is right. So that's kind of where I am. I'm just sort of taking it all in. I'm listening. I'm trying not to form. I don't want to say not to form too many opinions. I guess not to make too many judgments about the situation at the moment, because there is just a lot happening, and it's really emotional. And in a lot of ways, it's not. Although it is all of our fight, because we are all part of this country, and you are only as strong as everyone else around you. It's not really my conversation at the moment. It's other people's conversation. So I'm trying to listen to what other people are saying, people of color in this country, and take it all in. And yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So I know that was vague, but I'm sort of vague about it right now. I really am in a place of taking it all in and feeling just sort of sad that I wish things were different, which once again may be a naive way of feeling, but that's where I am. So I'm going to talk you through what we're going to do today, because I really want to hear from you guys, and I want to give you guys a chance to say what you have to say in a way that I know is not ideal, but you know what? Coronavirus, right? So I've created a document that will be used for each class. You'll each have your own document in Google Classroom. It's currently untitled, but I'll title it discussion document. And here, let me make this bold and center and a bigger font. So I have given some guidelines here. This is going to be a real basic discussion. I'm sure there's other fancier platforms out there than Google Drive to do discussions, but I didn't feel like finding them. So I have some guidelines. Use a different color writing to make sure what you're saying is legible. Check your grammar, spelling, and coherence so your peers can read it. Don't just type something and then be done. Try and reread it and revise it so that it makes sense. This is a really big one. Do not change or alter your peers' comments. We can find out if you did, because it's Google Drive, and you can see all the changes that are made to a document. So we could go back and find it all. I really don't want to have to do that. That would be a very not fun investigation on my part. So just respect what your peers say. You don't have a right to change what they put in there, so don't. Be sure to put your name with your comment. Be specific and try to get what you're saying and what you believe. Try to get your point across. You can comment as many times as you want throughout the week. This will be up there. I know Jocelyn had said that it sounds like some of you have been talking about it this weekend, and that there was some, conversation about it and debates around it. So feel free to use this as the format. We don't all have to agree. That's not what this is about. If everyone agreed, this wouldn't be happening. So we're not asking for an agreement on everyone. A lot of people have a lot of different perspectives on this. I would imagine we won't agree, and that's okay. You may be like me. I honestly didn't say much. You might just be wanting to talk about, I did say, I talked about how I feel, and that matters, but I'm talking about opinion-wise, I didn't say much. So you may not want to share as much opinions, just your thoughts, or you may have strong opinions. You may have strong opinions, and this is the time to share it. So we want to create a space where everybody feels safe and where you feel like you can talk about that. Please respond to each other's comments. I encourage this, and you're allowed to say, so keep your responses positive does not mean I agree with blank. Saying I disagree with blank is still positive. That's fine. That's not a negative thing to say. Disagreement is not negative. You're allowed to say, I disagree with so-and-so. This is what I think. What you're not allowed to say is commenting on making judgment on the other people's opinions. That's where it becomes negative. So if you say that the other person is wrong or make judgment about the intelligence of their comment, that's where it's negative. So we don't want that. You guys know, you see Mr. Hackman and I'm sometimes full on arguing in the hallway with each other. Also, I know if we were together eating lunch on Monday in the teacher's lounge, we'd probably be arguing about this topic. So but that doesn't mean that we view each other in a negative light. It means that we disagree about a topic. So we kind of use that as a model for you guys, so you can kind of see that it's okay to disagree. That's not a negative thing. It's how you handle that disagreement. This is emotional. So it's, on the one hand, it's really good that it's written, because you have to kind of check yourself. You can't just freak out because you're writing. So I think that's a good sign, a good way of controlling and modulating that emotion. Okay, so I've written mine in purple here, and we'll just continue it down after you put your name and you put your comment. You will receive a social studies grade. Maybe you'll receive a writing grade. We'll see. For this assignment, I think I'll do it as a writing grade. So really work on making your thought coherent. This is hard. It's hard to wrap your mind around like what you're thinking and put that into words, but it's such a good skill to be able to do that. So I think this is a good challenge, and we'll give it a writing grade. So we'll wrap up this conversation by, it'll be due to leave a comment by next Sunday, just like normal. Although I would imagine most of you will want to comment today, but feel free to come back to this assignment throughout the week, so that you can add to it if things happen. And maybe if other big things happen, I may, cancel or change or add on to a social studies lesson so we can continue to talk about this. Okay, so as I said, a lot of my emotion is sadness, and just wishing the world felt a little bit easier. So on that end, and because, I love poetry, I'm going to share a poem with you guys. I think it's a really beautiful poem, and to me, it gives me hope. So it has nothing really to do with this, besides you are children, and this is a poem about the future. So I'm going to read it to you, and I'll link it. You don't have to comment. You can. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, but you don't have to. So it's called Good Bones by Maggie Smith. Life is short, though I keep this from my children. Life is short, and I've shortened mine in 1,000 delicious, ill-advised ways. 1,000 deliciously ill-advised ways I'll keep from my children. The world is at least 50% terrible, and that's a conservative estimate, though I keep this from my children. For every bird, there is a stone thrown at a bird. For every loved child, a child broken, bagged, sunk in a lake. Life is short, and the world is at least half terrible, and for every kind stranger, there is one who would break you, though I keep this from my children. I am trying to sell them the world. Any decent realtor walking you through a real, I just realized this had a swear word. Literally just realized that. I think we can handle it. Maybe I won't link the poem. Through a real bleep hole. Chirps on about good bones. This place could be beautiful, right? You could make this place beautiful. So I do believe that. It's up to you guys to make this place beautiful. So we got to have these hard conversations. I'm going to stop talking now, and I'm going to post this now. Well, maybe I'll post it in the morning so you don't have to be bothered by getting alerts. I don't know if you guys check your Google Classroom on Sundays, but for anyone who's submitting work, I don't want you to be stressed out by seeing tomorrow's work. But I'd love to hear what you have to say. Also, feel free tomorrow during, so tomorrow will be a full session of the Q&A for the Q&A for humanities, and that would also be a great time for us to talk about this. So if you still really want to talk about it, and this is something that you feel you really feel like you have questions and you want to talk, then come to the humanities Q&A. That would be a great time to talk about it. Okay, that's all. Bye, guys.